Think about the strangest moment you ever truly doubted reality. Perhaps it was an impossible prank you fell for, or a bizarre news story that turned out to be fake. Now, multiply that sense of disbelief 1,000 times over and you'll land squarely on April Fool's Day. Every year, we line up to be duped, willingly, sometimes excitedly, all in the name of mischief. But why do we cling to this peculiar tradition of playful deceit? And how did it even begin? This bizarre day transcends national borders. From silly office jokes to elaborate corporate stunts, no corner of our world is safe. But behind the laughter lies an unsettling mystery. Where did people first decide that an entire day should be set aside to celebrate pranks? Some claim it's a relic of ancient customs. Others insist it has medieval roots. And yet no one is entirely certain which story holds the ultimate truth. And here's our conundrum. After centuries of confusion, historians still bicker over the earliest records of April 1st trickery. Did it come from the Roman festival of Hilaria, where merriment and masquerades ruled the streets? Or is it tied to the comedic upheaval of medieval Europe's Feast of Fools? With each new theory, the water only gets murkier. And in an era of fake news, viral pranks, and cunning marketing gimmicks, unraveling April Fool's true origin feels more crucial than ever. In this video, we're traveling through time to piece together the puzzle. We'll explore ancient festivals that upended social norms, investigate how calendar changes in France might have sparked a centuries-old tradition, and reveal how modern society took April 1st to startling extremes. But hold tight, because every origin story is about to collide in one grand tapestry of human mischief. By the end, you'll see why these pranks are so much more than cheap laughs and what secrets they still hide. Consider the melting snows of early spring in ancient lands when communities greeted nature's rebirth with rituals of joyous disorder. In Rome, the festival of Hilaria celebrated Cybele with outbursts of laughter, parades of masked revelers, and a temporary loosening of social rules. It wasn't just revelry for revelry's sake. Participants believed that flipping normal hierarchies could appease the gods, ensuring a fertile season. This spirit of playful chaos hints at why pranks might resonate so powerfully when temperatures begin to rise. Meanwhile, across medieval Europe, a raucous event known as the Feast of Fools turned the world upside down, if only for a day. Lowly peasants dressed as bishops or kings, mocking those in power. Church officials, often the targets of such comedic jabs, found themselves both amused and alarmed. Although the festival was supposedly meant to celebrate biblical narratives, its irreverent tone blurred sacred boundaries. This mixture of solemn devotion and boisterous pranks laid a foundation for future traditions of harmless trickery. Some scholars argue that these wild, carnivalesque rituals influenced the spirit of April Fool's Day. Perhaps the final vestiges of pagan springtime irreverence slipped into Christian calendar customs. Or maybe pockets of festivity simply bubbled up independently across different cultures. It's fascinating how widespread the urge to invert order and poke fun can be. Indeed, from the ancient Greeks to medieval Europe, laughter often served as a pressure valve for societies bound by strict hierarchies and rigid tradition. Even so, no definitive record states this is where April Fools began. Instead, we're left piecing together clues from celebrations that reveled in topsy-turvy humor. The deeper we dig, the more we realize mischief's historical roots are braided. By examining Hilaria and medieval feasts where power reversed, we see the lasting legacy of sanctioned silliness. With every jest, these cultures embraced a fleeting moment of freedom, a collective wink at fate. History begs reflection. In 1564, King Charles IX of France declared that the new year would officially begin on January 1st. Rather than Easter or late March. This mundane administrative change triggered chaos. Those who stubbornly clung to the old schedule, perhaps they'd missed the royal memo or simply refused to adapt, found themselves ridiculed as April Fools. The tradition of sending mock gifts or invitations took hold, culminating in the practice of pinning paper fish, or poisson d'avril, on unsuspecting victims to mark them as gullible. This French story remains the strongest contender for how April Fool's Day spread across Europe. But was it just a joke about outdated calendars? Critics note that other regions also switched their New Year date without spawning this holiday. Yet the French monarchy's edict, combined with a culture already fond of jest, may have been the perfect recipe. Before long, tales of April fish swam through neighboring nations, planting seeds for practical jokes on the 1st of April. What's intriguing is how this calendar shift fused with existing spring traditions. Remember, spring was already a time of renewal, mischief, and confusion in many cultures. France's focus on ridiculing the ignorant might have dovetailed seamlessly with ancient impulses to invert norms. After all, an April Fool is someone out of sync with the social script. In a world long before mass media, the notion spread organically, passed from traveler to traveler, each year refining the art of the hoax. Though many historians still debate the authenticity of this French connection, it remains the most coherent explanation. Whenever people talk about the origins of April Fools, this calendar conspiracy emerges. Perhaps it's because the story feels tangible, a regal decree, unsuspecting peasants clinging to old ways, and the aftermath. Whether true or not, the image of paper fish pinned to unsuspecting backs endures as a reminder. Tradition can spark from the simplest quirks of timing and culture. April Fool's mania extends far beyond France. In Scotland, the celebration once stretched over 2 days, starting with Hunt the Gowk, where unsuspecting participants received notes requesting help, only for the note's recipient to pass them along yet again in a never-ending chain of trickery. The following day was Taily Day, devoted to pranks aimed at people's backsides. A precursor, perhaps, to the classic kick me sign. Meanwhile, in Portugal, flower tossing replaced fish. Then come the epic hoaxes. In 1957, the BBC aired a segment on Swiss farmers supposedly harvesting spaghetti from trees, complete with footage of workers plucking noodles in orchards. Thousands of viewers believed it and inquired how to grow their own pasta trees. Years later, NASA jokingly announced a breakthrough discovery about life on Mars, sparking public buzz before revealing the gag. These stunts prove that even seasoned adults, armed with rational minds, can fall victim to a ruse. Across the globe, April Fool's traditions bend and mold to local humor. In Iran, Sizdah Bedar on April 2nd encourages playful lies, echoing the day's theme of warding off bad luck. In Poland, Primai Aprilis fosters silly media reports, while Spanish-speaking countries share comedic tidings on December 28th with Dia de los Santos Inocentos, though that's historically linked to a biblical massacre. Whether flour or fish, noodles or NASA, each region shapes April Fools with its unique spin on trickery. Part of the holiday's power lies in this adaptability. Media outlets continue to push boundaries, sometimes generating headlines so absurd that people question their sanity. Tech giants like Google have unleashed spoofs ranging from teleportation search to bogus language translators. Even governments occasionally join in, though some attempts blur ethical lines. Ultimately, these global pranks show how the day unites us through laughter. And, admittedly, each joke retells the timeless tale. Human beings love to dance with the unexpected. April Fool's Day isn't always harmless hijinks. Some pranks spiral out of control, leaving emotional or physical damage. Taco Bell's claim that it had purchased the Liberty Bell may have started as brand banter, but it triggered outrage from those who believed a national treasure was sold. Another case saw a radio station announce toxic water in a city's supply, sparking panic. These examples highlight the delicate boundary between a clever jest and a manipulative hoax that erodes public trust. Fake news can also derail reality on this day as headlines blur satire and actual events. In an age of clickbait, a claim might seem plausible if it's trending. Sometimes people with malicious intent exploit the date to spread disinformation. Meanwhile, individuals caught in personal pranks may suffer embarrassment, humiliation, or worse. Psychologists point out that pranks depend on audience perception. If the target doesn't laugh, can we still call it humor? April Fools becomes a trial of empathy. Some argue April Fools reveals a deeper impulse. We want to challenge authority but risk hurting each other in the process. Pranks that undermine trust in institutions can sow paranoia. A single misguided stunt might tarnish a brand or even end friendships. We thrive on laughter, but laughter can be weaponized. In our hyper-connected world, the line between playful jest and vicious exploitation grows thin. When a joke taps into real fears, it stops being funny and becomes an instrument. Yet pranks can also illuminate genuine camaraderie, suggesting a fine balance. Harmless fun fosters bonds, but destructive ploys sever them. Researchers urge moderation. A successful April Fool's gag evokes surprise without lasting trauma. Like a carnival mirror, these events reflect both our playful side and our darker inclinations. Perhaps the greatest lesson is that we wield humor responsibly, acknowledging safely its power to connect or wound. When we forget empathy, the joke's on us, unraveling trust in the process. Despite the pitfalls, psychologists celebrate April Fool's Day for its positive psychological effects. Laughter releases endorphins, nature's own mood enhancers, making people feel temporarily euphoric. Even gentle surprise triggers the brain's reward centers, deepening social bonds. Studies show that teams who share lighthearted pranks can improve workplace morale and reduce stress. By releasing tension, we foster creativity and collaborative problem solving. In a global culture that often feels stressful, even a well-placed jest can remind us of our shared humanity. Biologically, humor serves as a social glue, encouraging group cohesion and trust. When people laugh together, they experience a sense of unity. Researchers note that pranks can bond coworkers or classmates, so long as the jokes don't cross personal boundaries. Paradoxically, this day of trickery can strengthen loyalty. Who hasn't felt closer to a friend after a gag that ended in shared laughter? We're wired to appreciate novelty, and pranks scratch that itch, offering a mini adventure in everyday life. Online, memes and viral challenges amplify April Fool's collisions of creativity. From staged YouTube stunts to comedic Instagram filters, digital culture feeds off the thrill of the unexpected. Social networks thrive on the comedic currency of a well-executed hoax. Indeed, a clever prank can launch an influencer's career or catapult a brand into the spotlight. This digital dimension, however, adds complexity. Jokes can spread faster, but so can backlash. A single post can spark millions of reactions in mere minutes. In the end, the science of April Fools points toward balance. Humor can be a potent remedy for stress, but it demands respect for boundaries. Experts remind us that pranks are healthy only if both prankster and target share in the fun. The best jokes uplift, uniting us in laughter rather than dividing us. In a world grappling with pressures, this annual reminder to laugh and think critically at the same time might be exactly the medicine our psyche craves. After all these centuries, April Fool's remains more than a trivial excuse for laughs. Tracing its origins from ancient Roman festivals to French calendrical reforms, we see a pattern of mischief woven into the tapestry of cultural identity. Humankind seems drawn to a special day of sanctioned silliness, one that momentarily breaks our routine. Whether we suspect pagan echoes or modern inventions, the holiday persists, and perhaps it endures because it speaks to our desire to question, invert, and explore. Look at our digital age: memes, viral videos, and worldwide collaborations that set the internet abuzz on April 1st. Even as technology accelerates life, we still cling to this day of playful disruption. Why? Because subverting expectations is thrilling, reinforcing that not everything is predictable. April Fool's slinks between sincerity and satire, keeping us alert. One click might reveal a real story, another a hoax. In this duality, we find the essence of a tradition that refuses to expire. And there's a deeper truth. Jokes often highlight what society takes too seriously. When we laugh at ourselves, we loosen rigid beliefs. Even the silliest April Fool's stunt can poke holes in our assumptions, pushing us to question the status quo. That's why each new wave of pranks can spark debates about gullibility, skepticism, and media literacy. Perhaps the greatest takeaway is awareness. Illusions remind us of how our minds can be bent. In that vulnerability, there's potential growth. So here's your challenge. Do you dare redefine what it means to be a fool? Reveal your best prank or unravel someone else's in the comments and let the laughter continue. Each year, April 1st tempts us to see the world in reverse, if long enough to realize we need order and chaos. Keep your wit sharp and your heart kinder. Like, subscribe, and explore more. Who knows what illusions wait beyond this day? Stay vigilant and embrace the next surprise.